as we consider the elements of thought according to the Paul Elder framework, who can explain point of view.
According to Richard Paul and Linda Elder, point of view is literally the place from which we look at something.
Very good. Can you give us an example?
I think I can. Last summer, I visited family in Manhattan. The view of the city from street level is wall-to-wall people and all hustle and bustle, but from the observation deck of the Empire State Building, visitors can see the entire island from tip to tip.
And if you lived in a posh Fifth Avenue apartment, your view of New York would be different from that of a kid growing up in a housing project in Queens.
And a visitor from a small town in Kansas would see the city from an entirely different perspective than that of a native New Yorker.
And a non-English speaking person might have an altogether different view of New York.
As might someone physically impaired.
So which of these points of view would be accurate?
It sounds as if everyone's point of view is right.
Let's ask the class. Is every point of view accurate? Should we consider all points of view equal?
I do not think so, Dr. Ross. A drunk driver has a distorted view of the highway. A drunk driver's point of view can mean the death of a lot of accident victims. A critical thinker should consider other points of view, but some perspectives may be more accurate or more telling than others.
Should we consider points of view that challenge our own beliefs?
Why should I consider the point of view of someone who disagrees with me? Until I corner the market on truth, I will do well to consider the viewpoints of others. I do not have to agree with them, but I will give another person the same consideration I would want them to give me.
Very well. Let's move on. What is an assumption?
An assumption is a belief that we take for granted.
Is it wrong to assume? After all, Dr. Ross, I came to class assuming you would be here to teach us. And my assumption was correct, right?
I say we should assume nothing.
If, as you say, I am to assume nothing, then I must assume the statement you made is incorrect.
So how should we approach assumptions?
Class? You heard the question? How are we to approach assumptions?
We must examine our assumptions to determine if the beliefs we take for granted are backed by factual evidence. We must ask if our assumptions are justified or if our presuppositions are based upon half-truths and error. Are our assumptions tainted by groundless bias? Are those who presume to teach or instruct us guilty of harboring unsubstantiated beliefs? What are the assumptions I make about myself, my friends, this university, our government, the future of this planet? What if my assumptions are invalid? What if my assumptions lead me down the wrong path? What if my assumptions take me to critical thinking Armageddon? Vanity, vanity, all is vanity.
I rather suspect Moonbeam is taking the elements of thought a bit too seriously. Class dismissed.